Okay, Elizabeth, so today we're going to be reading
The Tale of Mr. Jeremy Fisher
by
Beatrix Potter.
So from looking at this picture and the one just inside the front cover, what do you think the book might be about?
A frog who goes fishing and he never catches fish, so he goes and asks someone else and they catch fish. And then Mr. Jeremy Fisher is happy.
Okay.
Once upon a time there was a frog called Mr. Jeremy Fisher. He lived in a little damp house amongst the buttercups at the edge of a pond. The water was all slippy sloppy in the ladder and in the back passage.
Okay, do you think slippy is a real word?
No.
Okay, why do you think that?
Because it doesn't sound like a real word.
Okay, keep going.
But Mr. Jeremy liked getting his feet wet. Nobody ever scolded him and he never got a cold. He was quite pleased when he looked out and saw large drops of rain splashing in the pond. I will get some worms and go fishing and catch a dish of minnows for my dinner, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. If I catch more than 5 fish, I will invite my friends, Mr. Aldrin, Ptolemy, Tortoise, and Sir Isaac Newton. The older man, however, beef salad. Mr. Jeremy put on a moustache and a pair of shiny goloshes. He took his rod and basket and set off with his enormous hops to the place where he kept his boat.
What does that word say?
Macintosh?
Yes, Macintosh. Do you know what that is? So from looking at the picture, do you think you can work out what it is?
A rope that you jump across to get to something.
So he put on a Macintosh.
A backpack.
And what do you think galoshes are? A pair of shiny galoshes.
Shoes. The boat was round and green and very like the other lily leaves. It was tied to a water plant in the middle of the pond. Miss Jeremy took a reed pole and pushed the boat out into open water. I know a good place for minnows, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. Mr. Jeremy stuck his pole into the mud and fastened the boat to it. Then he settled himself cross-legged, and arranged his fishing tackle. He had the dearest little red float. His rod was a stalk of grass. His line was a fine long white horse hair, and he tied a little wiggling worm at the end. The rain trickled down his back, and for nearly an hour he started at the float. This is getting tiresome. I think I should like some lunch, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. He punted back again amongst the water plants and took some lunch out of his basket.
So what do you think the word punted might mean?
Opening.
Why do you think that?
Because he punted back among the water plants.
Okay.
And took some lunch out of his basket. I will eat a butterfly sandwich and wait till the shower is over, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. A great big water beetle came up underneath the lily leaf and tweaked the toe of one of his galoshes. Mr. Jeremy crossed his legs up, shortened out a reach and went on eating his sandwich. Once or twice something moved about with a rustle and a splash amongst the rushes at the side of the pond. I trust that it is not a rat, said Mr. Jeremy Fisher. I think I had better get away from here. Mr. Jeremy shoved the boat out again a little way and dropped in the bait. There was a bite almost Directly, the float gave a tremendous bobbit. A minnow, I have him by the nose, cried Mr. Jeremy Fisher, jerking up his rod. But what a horrible surprise! Instead of a smooth, flat minnow, Mr. Jeremy landed the little jack shark, the stickleback covered with spines. The stickleback floundered about the boat, pricking and snapping until he was quite out of breath. Then he jumped back into the water, and a shoal of other little fishes put their heads out and laughed at Mr. Jeremy Fisher. And while Mr. Jeremy sat constantly on the edge of his boat, sucking his sore fingers and peering down into the water, a much worse thing happened. A really frightful thing it would have been if Mr. Jeremy had not been wearing a Macintosh. A great big enormous trout came up, plopping with a splash, and it seized Mr. Jeremy with a snap. Ow, ow, ow! And then it turned away, dived down to the bottom of the pond. But the trout was so displeased with the taste of the Macintosh, but that in less than a half minute it spat him out again, and the only thing it swallowed was Mr. Jeremy's goloshes. Mr. Jeremy pounced up to the surface of the water like a cork and the bubbles out of a soda water bottle, and he swam with all his might to the edge of the pond. He scrambled out on the first bank he came to, and he hopped home across the meadow with his Macintosh all in tatters. What a mercy! That was not a pike, said Mr. Jeremy Fish. I have lost my rod and basket, but it does not much matter, for I am sure I never have dared to go fishing again. He put some sticking plaster on his fingers, and his friend both came to dinner.
What do you think sticking plasters are?
Band-aids. Band-aids on his fingers, and his friends both came to dinner. He could not offer them fish, but he had something else in his larder.
What do you think a larder is?
Jacket? Sir Isaac Newton wore his black and gold waistcoat, and Mr. Alderman Potterly Tortoise brought a salad with him in his string bag. And instead of a nice dish of minnows, they had a roasted grasshopper with ladybirds, with frogs consider a beautiful treat. But I think I must have been nasty. The end.
Okay, very good. So, can you recall what his boat was made out of?
It was made out of
If you can't remember, it's okay. It was in some of the pictures. Just say
Macintosh.
Okay. His boat was made out of a Macintosh.
String.
His boat was made out of string.
Oh no, Macintosh.
Okay. And what happened to his galoshes?
They got eaten by the spiny fish.
How do you think he felt losing his galoshes?
Upset.
Why?
Because they were his shoes.
How do you think he felt going home with no fish for his friends to eat?
Happy and upset.
Why happy and upset?
Happy because his friends came over